potential separation from the employer. I might have a couple more background questions, and I should have you
Oh,
all set to go.
okay. I thought this one was about the sexual assault.
No, ma'am. This is not a scheduled sexual assault case. Let me look into that super quickly.
Okay,
That
because
be
I
as
prepared
related
I
to
prepared for the
business.
sexual assault. I didn't prepare for the employment, but I guess I can jump gears and I was trying to
If you
what?
let me let me place you on a brief hold. And I'll double check that.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you.
On hold with a lawyer. They're recording the call, so I'm too.
Hi, Laura. So I'm not seeing the sexual assault intake on our calendar at this time. I am seeing that you had listed that as a potential issue. Is it part of your
Okay.
employment matter?
I had scheduled 2 appointments. One today that was supposed to be for the sexual assault, and then they told me, okay, hold on, let me look at my calendar. Let me find my calendar. Where's my calendar? Okay. You don't have it on your calendar. I have it for August the 2nd, employment, and then I have today sexual assault. August the 7th,
Okay.
2nd at 11 a.m. was supposed to be the unemployment one, and then today was supposed to be about the sexual assault. And actually,
Okay.
I even have a I think I got an email for that one too.
Okay. Let me. Do you want to proceed with the employment matter at this time?
I guess we can. I was really prepared to talk about the sexual assault, though they're kind of both related.
Okay. If they're related, then we can proceed with the employment intake at this time, and then do an additional one for the sexual assault. It's looking like in the notes that that was what we were planning to do here. I just want to.
Cause
I
let me
can confirm that with my supervisor quickly if you like.
here, hold on, let me look, cause I'm trying to find the other appointment. I have an appointment with, you're Samantha, right? I thought there was an appointment with someone
Yes.
named is your last name Corlin? Or somebody else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, wait a minute. Shegarian. I'm doing a Google search in my Gmail. Oh wait, I spelled it wrong. G-E-R. Okay. G-E-R. Oh, come on. Why is this doing this? Sometimes my email doesn't want to look up stuff for me.
No worries.
April. I'm going to do April. Samantha. Appointment. Let me do appointment. Appointment with Courtney on April the 2nd. Courtney Lee?
Yes, and Courtney is one of my colleagues. Let me take a look. So I just contacted my supervisor to confirm which intake I should be proceeding with you for today.
Hers on the 2nd says Courtney Lee employment, and then I should check to see what yours says. Yours says
Yes.
it It doesn't say.
Okay. If you had given our scheduling team approval for a earlier appointment, sometimes they are able to move that forward, and that's why the appointment with Courtney was reassigned to me.
Well, no, it wasn't reassigned. I scheduled them both at the same time. One was for the sexual assault and one was for the employment. And I'm kind of upset because I was molested by a guy, and this all has to do with him. And he is a member of my union. He is working. He is like, he actually is putting himself out there as though he's got a future in the industry when I don't because of him. And, like if you don't want to talk to me about the sexual assault, the employment issue becomes mute because it all has to do with him, or most of it has.
So, are you interested in pursuing legal action against your employer, or only against the man who attacked you?
If I don't pursue legal, I'm likely to end up dead at this point because that's the position that I'm in now, where I am screwed because of what they did.
So, are you interested in pursuing legal action against your employer?
Yeah, but it's kind of like I have to pursue legal action against my union and the employment because of what he did and what his friends did to protect him from the fact that he raped me.
Okay, I understand. So we can proceed with the employment intake at this time, and that will include that as well. And if you want to make sure that you are scheduled as well for the
I need to be scheduled for both. I realize he is not financially in a position to basically give you millions of dollars, but if you don't hear what happened with him, in fact that's part of the employment, then you will not understand the scale of this. And it's not necessarily my employer, it's my union, and I haven't been employed for over a decade because of what these people have been doing to me.
Okay, so if this was over a decade ago, unfortunately that does fall outside of the statute of limitations for what we are.
What about the fact that my union has been blacklisting me for a year? For years.
Let me put you on one more hold and confirm that with my supervisor, okay?
Okay.
Are you still there?
Yeah, and there's another thing too. Shonda Rhimes has my phone number and the internet as hers, my Gmail number. So I've been getting harassing phone calls for the last 3 years. This has been an ongoing thing where they've made me a target for online abuse and like convinced everyone. I went to law school. I have a law degree. They convinced everyone I didn't go to law school. When I did, threw me into an institution in 2012. And have basically been abusing me ever since, even though they know I'm a legitimate member and I did go to law school, claiming I had bad behavior when I had actually, after I filed charges against people who had bad behavior toward me. They turned it all around onto me, and it's been going.
I just want to confirm that you have not been with this employer for over 10 years.
I have not been employed by anyone really since 2010, and the one time I tried to get a job in 2023 working with actors, I was making money finally, and then one girl picks me, gives me a bad review, and then when I look her up, she worked for ESPN, which is Disney. She was an African American woman from Atlanta, and I had plenty of African American clients on the site. I am in no way, shape, or form racist. I voted for Obama. Which, by the way, Obama's friends with Shonda Rhimes. I filed with the NLRB against Shonda Rhimes in 2012, trying to get justice, and then within 24 hours of them deciding it wasn't statute of limitations. It's more like they decided they didn't want to like they just dumped it. And then the next thing I know, when that happens, I get attacked for 5 years on Twitter by someone threatening to slash my face and rape me, while simultaneously getting emails from a guy who worked with me on set with Shonda Rhimes, telling me calling me crazy and saying all this other nasty stuff. And he is actually an official of SAG, has been an official with SAG AFTRA, an elected official for years, where they have been shutting me out. I wake up every morning thinking I should end my life because the only thing I ever wanted to do was be an actor. People have been treating me. I had an accident on a set in 2008. They've practically accusing me of causing that accident to sue someone. Meanwhile, it was a Paramount set. I never sued Paramount, and Disney is the one who's been after me this entire time, blacklisting me, not Paramount. And the woman who was on that set, Melinda Johnson, went to work for Shonda Rhimes the year later. You can say all you want, the statute of limitation is run. I'm still living in hell, thinking about not having a future, doing everything I want. I can't have the children I want. I can't have the family I want. I can't have the life I want. I'm never going to have the community that I want, because unlike other professions, I have a theater degree and the master's in performing arts management. All of my friends that I know still work in the industry, and I'm not going to have any real friends, because unless the people in my life love acting as much as I do, I don't want to hang out with them or talk to them. So they cut me off not only from my employment, but ever having anything I want, including friends, a boy. Like if I'm the kind of person who wants a soulmate. My soulmate would be an actor. The only closest thing I ever had to a best friend was a guy who I knew in college who was an actor. And they actually basically act like I was going to throw myself at men because they think that I want some guy who looks hot or sexy. They don't realize the fact that I'm not the kind of person who would even go on a date unless I have my own money. So I haven't even been on a date since 2006, because unless I have an acting career, I don't want to be put in a position where the man in my life owns me. And I have been repeatedly stalked and attacked. My father is a retired Homeland Security agent. When they threw me into an institution, he's calling me up, acting like he's checking on my status as though he did this to me. A guy I now know who worked for Homeland Security, a guy sent me a photograph of him on the set of Grey's Anatomy this past year, after I had, so now I know this guy was actually working on Grey's Anatomy after they got rid of me, so that Grey's Anatomy knew about my father and who he was. He was a vice president in charge of the Alumni Association of Homeland Security Agents, and he treats me like I'm property. He lives in Arizona. I'm not from Arizona. I'm from Maryland. I never want to be in Arizona. I stopped being friends with an actress friend of mine who's a celebrity, pseudo-celebrity, simply because she said I could live off my father for the rest of my life. I don't want to live off my dad. He's a pig's son property, and I don't want to go and I've got men stalking me from my father's state because they think I'm a secularist now, and I want a secularist boyfriend, who are men who have children who apparently think I want to be their trad wife. And I'm thinking, unless you're an actor and unless I can have an actor career where I make my own money, I would rather be dead than be forced to be thrown into the kitchen like the help. And I have been like this my entire life. I've got MAGA women stalking me online telling me, why don't you change? Thinking, I'm sorry, I don't want to change to be thrown in the kitchen like I'm to help. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not an accountant. I made $1,000 running lines with actors in 2023, only to lose that job by one person. And I know people are still working on that site, but I'm not allowed to be on it. And I was making friends on that site because of one woman, and they got rid of me right before the strike ended. And I think they did it for SAG AFTRA. They claim that's not true, but finding out that the woman who did it to me worked for ESPN and is probably a Shonda Rhimes fan. And I'm tired. Shonda Rhimes, a documentary last year came out about Shonda Rhimes. She hired a woman who lied about having cancer. And she hired a woman who lied about sexual assault. It's called Anatomy of Lies. I was on that set 2 weeks after I had a mastectomy. I had my implants taken out in 2023. And not only that, I didn't lie about Jeremy Gilbreath shoving his hand down my pants. And 2 weeks ago, or like about a month ago, Cynthia Youngblood, who is a woman who worked with me on that set, who knew Jeremy Gilbreath because we both worked on the same set with him. She followed me behind me in my neighborhood. I don't know if she lives in my neighborhood, but Grey's Anatomy shoots where I live. She's following me up the street. I record her, and instead of like continuing along where I was going, she crosses the street and then walks back down. And I recorded this. And this woman and I had relations with the same guy named John Ponzio. And John told me years ago if I said anything about any kind of sexual assault, I would be terminated. And I didn't believe him. And I'm like, why are you telling me this? And I hadn't told him that Jeremy Gilbreath, who he knew, had molested me. But I think he knew because now I know in 2016 I got an email from a friend of Jeremy Gilbreath's basically saying that he knew that Jeremy had molested me and that I should forgive myself and forgive him. For what? I didn't want Jeremy touching me. He had a girlfriend and I don't cheat. I'm Phi Beta Kappa and Mensa. I'm Phi Beta Kappa, I'm Mensa, I have a theater degree, I'm a scriptwriter, a filmmaker with a law degree who will never practice law because I'd rather be dead than practice law because I've never met more toxic people in my life. And I'm so tired of the fact that I can't get justice because people just expect me to go practice law. I can't. I'm sick with a yeast allergy. I was sick back in 2012, didn't know. Didn't find out till 2014 I had an autoimmune disease. I have an autoimmune disease still. And today I get a video on Facebook from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which, by the way, Buffy the Vampire Slayer is Disney, it was like a joke video from Buffy the Vampire saying how to call out a person who's fake being sick. I am so tired because for 5 years I had a Twitter stalker calling me a hypochondriac because I have a yeast allergy and an autoimmune disease. And apparently people don't believe women when they say they're sick with an autoimme disease. My law school loans are gone. My law school loans are all gone because I was sick. I went so far as writing to Biden. I went so far as writing to the Attorney General. Don't tell me that the statute of limitation is sick when I'm never going to have a future as an actor now because of what they did. When I'm never going to have someone I can actually love and be best friends with because that's how important acting was to me, that if the guy in my life isn't into acting too, I'm not going to want him. And I'm being stalked by men who think that they can buy my vagina when they never will. I'm going to end up probably committing suicide because of all of this, because I don't have a future. And don't tell me to go to a therapist because I would punch the therapist. I'm not a violent person, but I swear to God, if one more therapist or social worker comes into my life thinking they can convince me I'm a regular person who wants a regular job when I test as an INFP and I'm Mensa, you cannot convince me that I'm not an actor when I'm better at acting than anything else.
I completely understand how frustrating the situation is.
I got my first SAG audition. I got my third SAG audition. They were in 13 festivals. They did this to me when I was actually climbing the ladder to being an actor. I don't care about award shows. I don't care about being famous or sexy. But if I can't have acting as a career and I can't transfer the skills to something else, I don't want to sell things. I don't want to manipulate people. I'm an honest person and I am so tired because I am a good person. And I was pussy grabbed. And we have a president in the White House now who thinks that's okay. And the people who did, I got an email from a guy named Lee Ryder who says because I included him this past year with emails with SAG AFTRA because he was calling the police here in Los Angeles to have the police harass me. And he's friends with people who know Jeremy Gilbreath and know casting agents here in California. He says he's been working for Yellowstone as a consultant, which is a television show out in Montana. He's from California. Telling me that because I included him, SAG AFTRA is going to help him get work when he's a MAGA who's actually sent me emails telling me he wants me dead. Whereas me, I'm not going to ever be on a set again and never be cast again.
Laura, I am very, very sorry for
You're not going to take my case. I knew that. And the fact that this fucked up with the very fact that you called me up and tell me that all of a sudden the sexual harassment case is gone. Did Sarah Ann Massey contact you? Because I'm furious with her because she's with higher survivors. And yet, from my perspective, she has not once actually admitted that I'm a survivor.
Nobody has contacted us. Just unfortunately, we are not able to address an employment matter from that long ago.
Yeah, and I'm dead now. I'm never going to be employed again because honestly, if I can't trust SAG AFTRA to let me be hired as an actor because they won't let me. Because as far as I'm concerned, Nicole Nicaragua, who I have sent emails with telling her I want to sue them because of what they did, she won't let me be hired, and she's an attorney. Crabtree Ireland was the ABA representative of his law school when I was the ABA representative of Catholic University, yet he threw me into an institution claiming I wasn't a lawyer. I had a cop get in my face and say, you never went to law school, when I did. And I've had a woman from as far as the UK say, my bar number's fake. So they've convinced everyone I'm not as intelligent as I am, I don't have the education that I am, or better yet, I should be using that education when I am better at being in the acting community, the entertainment community than I would ever be at being I cannot be a lawyer. I would suck at being an attorney. But I made $1,000 in 2023. It was the first time I filed a tax return in over a decade. I am never going to change to be the person my parents want me to be, and my parents act like they own me, and he's a Homeland Security agent. And my father actually said in 2005 there was going to be a revolution, which means he knew what was going to happen with Donald Trump. That's what's scary about this whole situation. I'm watching us lose our democracy, and it's because of attorneys who will not accept the fact that maybe they're not going to make millions of dollars off of a case, but maybe they actually might change the system so that people get justice. Goodbye. Goodbye, okay? Fuck you.